Well, my name is Ulrica Beritsdotter, and I am originally from Luleå, actually, but I moved away from there in my 20s to go and do art studies, and ended up in Amsterdam eventually on the art academy there, and stayed on there for a long time. Just moved back a couple of years ago to Luleå, so it was quite fun to be back there, and it was also quite fun that apparently they didn't recognize that it was me because they'd been so focused on the work, and which feels quite nice. That sort of, it's not that you're getting picked out because you're local in a sense. This work it's been in the pipelines for quite some time, really, you have a lot of ideas going around. This one has been, when it kind of gelled in, felt like I really want to do this, but I tried to fit it because it's a big work. I've done the minimum of the size of these pieces. I could do 7 by 7 centimeters. Lesser wouldn't just be silly, and which takes then a space of at least 5.5 meters. Very hard to find. So I've tried to see if I could do it in any other sense, but it didn't work out. So it's just been hanging there. And then when this theme came up with a border, it just fitted in. So I was so happy because it has like 3 borders in it, and superficially then the first border, it's in no relation to how important they are in how I see the work. But so I just say the first border is then the border, as I said, that borders usually divide us, or usually divide something, but in this case the border, I consider the border between the life-giving earth and what we know, quite sterile space around it. That's a border that actually unites us all, as on this life-giving earth. Then you have the border, because what it is it's a binary code. It's made up of ones and zeros. It's a radio message that was sent out in 1974 from this telescope. You can see the image if you look very closely, called the Arecibo telescope. It was beamed to a star cluster 25,000 light years away. I think it's called M13 or so, with a message presenting Earth. There's Earth populations, the atomic numbers of nucleotides in the DNA. It's Earth position in the solar system and all this kind of stuff. So, but that's one level, and that's first at the level, the border of Earth and space, and then you have the border in communication, which is the border of a message, and then the strict border between the message and the interpretation. Which is also in this, but it's also a thing I work with. So there are 2 things that I really work with in my art. This is sort of what we see and what it actually is. And that's also then what I called, in this case, the mind-body division, being then it's a code. And a code is a thing you make up in your head. It's a mental image. All these digits, the small little squares, the ones and zeros, they are crafted. I've really crafted each one of them. I've made the paper, I've made each one by hand. It had to be like that because they had to be physically present. Because if I would have drawn them or photocopied or in any other sense, they would have been a representation of a 1 or a 0 or a symbol. But now they're sort of objects in themselves, and they're made to look a bit organic and look like objects. And that for me is very important. That it's something that also I work with in my art. This is what we see. If you see a tree, you straight away code it. It's a tree. It becomes just a mental image. This is a tree, and you stop seeing the tree. It's a tree. Okay, I've seen that. A house, okay, looks nice, I've seen that, but you never go in and look at the details. So that's why it was so important for me to do all these 1,679 little individual pieces, and that you actually, they are the important part.